Did you know that China wants to make a building higher than Mount Fuji? And that Japan wants to create a building capable of housing the entire population of Jakarta? Today we're going to cover 7 buildings that make the Burj Khalifa look like an ant next to a giant human boot. Number 7. Obelisco Capital. The Great Pyramid of Giza stood as the tallest construction in the world for over 4,000 years. After losing its crown for newer and more futuristic buildings, Egypt has plans to get back into the skyscraper game with a challenging new endeavor. The Obelisco Capital is a proposed mega-tall skyscraper for the new administrative capital of Egypt. It was announced in 2018 as a part of Egypt's Vision 2030 plan. If built, it will become the world's tallest building at 1 kilometer. That would be even higher than the Burj Khalifa and the Cairo Tower combined. Egyptian architectural design firm IDEA claims that they want to follow in the footsteps of their ancestors, the great architects of all, aka the pharaohs. Now, could that ambition be fulfilled? The truth is, Obelisco Capital is an ambitious project, not only for its height, but for its innovative technology. The Obelisco's grids rotate according to the sun's movement during the day, ensuring better climate conditions within its interior. And the building's south facade is made of photovoltaic glass, transforming Egypt's intense sun rays into electricity. Number 6. Aeropolis 2001. The Aeropolis 2001 is a 500-story high-rise building that Obayashi Corporation proposed to build over Tokyo Bay in Japan. With a height of 2,001 meters, the huge building would have been about 5 times as tall as New York City's old World Trade Center. In 1989, the year of its proposition, Japan lived a period of great prosperity. This fueled the proposition of even more enormous buildings, as we'll see later down the list. Unfortunately, this resulted from a price bubble, which burst in the early 1990s. Still, Obayashi Corporation claimed that in 1995, they still had plans for the structure. Apparently, this company was the Elon Musk of the 90s. During this time, they proposed building a city on the moon by 2050. Unlike Elon Musk, Obayashi never backed these bold claims with the necessary action. Since 1995, there have been no more updates about either of these proposals. What a shame. I would have loved seeing some of the Aeropolis 2001's high-tech ideas come to life, like its fast-paced transportation system. There were plans for a shuttle lift with 300 seats that would take 15 minutes to go from the bottom floor to the top floor of the building and stop every 40th floor. The plan said that the tower would be completely eco-friendly and have air conditioning. Number 5. Shimizu Mega City Pyramid. We've already seen Egypt wants to reclaim the legacy of the pharaohs by building giant skyscrapers, but Japan has taken this idea even further by proposing the construction of an enormous pyramid over Tokyo Bay. The Shimizu megacity would be 14 times the size of the Great Pyramid of Giza. It would be the biggest thing ever made by people. Well, at least if it weren't for, the next entries on this list. The pyramid would help make Tokyo less crowded by holding up to 750,000 people. If that didn't impress you, what about this? The pyramid is so big and so heavy that it can't be built with the materials that we currently have. The design depends on lightweight carbon nanotube technology being largely available in the future. But how would you get around in a pyramid-shaped city that hung over the ocean and had no streets? The answer's pretty easy. Moving walkways, inclined elevators, and automated pods that move people quickly. The plan was to start building in 2030, but nothing's been done since then. However, Shimizu is still determined to finish the project by the year 2110. Is it possible we'll see the construction of this pyramid in our lifetime? Number 4. Dubai City Tower. Have you ever thought about living in a vertical city? It really might be a possibility in the near future. Dubai City Tower is an architect's idea that started to spread through emails into skyscraper form on August 25th of 2008, but no one knows where it came from. The professional project pitch describes a 2.4-kilometer tall building with 400 habitable stories and a 400-meter energy-producing spire on top. The tower would be constructed alongside the Persian Gulf part of the building, which would stick out over into the water, making a marina and a place for cruise ships and tourists to go. But how would people move into such a big building? Well, with a vertical bullet train. The tower has 4 100-story neighborhoods that are connected by a vertical bullet train that moves people quickly between these sky plazas, separating the different regions. This design caused quite the stir, but no further plans were made available. Its creator just vanished. If it isn't clear how things would work, at least we know the inspiration behind the design. Can you guess it? Come on, take a little bit of a closer look. Closer! There it is! The Dubai City Tower's design was based on the Eiffel Tower. Could you say its creator was French, or did they just admire the country? Your guess is as good as mine, because we will never know. Number 3. ULTIMA Tower. This entry has a fantastic concept behind it. In 1991, architect Eugene Sui was doing a contracted study of the San Francisco Bay Area. He realized that there were almost no park-like spaces in the city. To remedy that, Sui proposed the highest artificial structure the world has ever seen. With a total height of 3.2 kilometers, the tower would comprise 500 stories and accommodate up to 1 million people. But how could a giant building help solve the lack of green spaces in San Francisco? By mimicking nature itself. Sui designed a vertical structure modeled after African termite mounds, which can reach up to 30 feet in height, to minimize urban sprawl and preserve natural spaces. The ULTIMA would work like a sustainable city. It would have 120 levels, each with like a little mini ecosystem with lakes, skies, hills, and rivers. And instead of using air conditioning, aerodynamic windows would keep the inside cool. Besides, waterfalls on lower levels and a vast lake all around would naturally cool the building. A set of mirrors in the middle of the construction would spread light all over. The building would be made from recycled materials, and each floor would have composting toilets and natural water purification systems. All of this will be powered by solar energy. Seems like a paradise. So, why was it never built? The sheer size and cost proved to be quite challenging. At its base, the ULTIMA Tower would be almost 2 kilometers wide, and the cost of its construction would be $150 billion US. Number 2. Exceed 4000. Another massive building, Exceed 4000 is a 4-kilometer high skyscraper proposed by Taisei Corporation. This self-contained city within a building can accommodate up to 1 million people. It's an eco-utopian environment with over 800 floors in the open framework of a concave cone shape, reminiscent of Mount Fuji. The building would need to be 6 kilometers wide on its base to stand on its own. The concave cone isn't just for beauty, but to provide stability for the immense structure. Structural stability wasn't the only problem creators had to solve, though, as something alarming happens to people when they get too high: altitude sickness. Imagine you are having the time of your life at this giant building, and the headaches come in, the nausea, and the shortness of breath. Nobody would like that, yet you could even die depending on who you are. To solve this, planners created a system to manage the variations in air pressure throughout the building. Although much thought was put into this project, the big entrepreneurs behind it later claimed that they never intended to build Exceed 4000. It was all a ploy to promote Taisei Corporation. Well, that's understandable. After all, building this monster wouldn't be an easy feat. You'd need 3 million tons of steel, or the equivalent of 298 Eiffel Towers. And the price tag would have been over $900 billion. Number 1. Tokyo Tower of Babel. Do you think the Exceed 4000 was gigantic? Well, what if I told you that the last entry is over twice the size of it? The Tokyo Tower of Babel is the tallest structure ever imagined, and if built, it would house approximately 30 million people. That's the entire population of Jakarta, basically. Toshio Ojima, who was then an associate professor at Waseda University, designed this building in 1992. With a height of 10 kilometers, it'd be taller than Mount Everest and would be higher than the average plane can fly. As is the case with many other projects on this list, the Tokyo Tower of Babel was proposed at a time of financial high in Japan. After that period ended, there was no news about the construction of the project. It was estimated that it would take up to 150 years and $22 trillion to bring this building to life. I don't think anyone's rich enough to build that. Maybe one day, though. So which of these skyscrapers is your favorite? Do you think that any of these are ever going to get built? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want to see more about similar projects, then you can watch our video, The End of High-Rise Superstructures. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.